by the channel. My name's Leah, and we're going to be recapping Real Housewives of New Jersey. This is season 12, episode 6. It was a filler. Let's just call it was a filler with some spice at the end. But let's get into it. Like I said last episode, shut up, Tracy. She get on my nerves. She gets on my nerves. And mainly it's because it's like she's somewhat right in her what's the word? Her understanding of the situation between Joe and Melissa and Teresa. But my issue is it's like, that's not your friend, so why do you feel the need to speak? Like, it would be totally different if Tracy was cool with Melissa and Teresa. Like Dolores kind of knows Joe and Teresa, but she doesn't. So it's like, it's easy, and you can easily tell that she's only saying things to get camera time. And I'm just kind of like, girl, don't nobody, because my thing is, if she wasn't going to be honest about her life and her family and things of that nature, then what makes you feel like you have the authority or the audacity to talk on Teresa and Louis' situation with Jennifer and them and stuff like that? And my thing is like I said, she's right to a certain extent, but it's like, you and Teresa are not friends. You're friends with Melissa and Joe. I was okay with her like talking to Melissa and Joe before they had the pink party, because I was annoyed by Tracy's commentary. But what she was saying was, I felt like it was right because she's friends with them. You're not friends with Teresa. So I'm with Teresa when I'm like, who are you? Who are you? Like, this has nothing to do with you. So back up, lady. So I was so annoyed. And I feel like if Tracy isn't going to be honest about her situation, how you were somebody's mistress, how you were how Tiki cheated on his wife, allegedly, which, we got proof, but allegedly that you cheated on your wife with Tracy when your wife was 7 months pregnant with twins. I feel like, shut the hell up, Tracy, because you're not being honest. Be quiet. Teresa was being extra crying, but the party opened, the episode opens up where we got Teresa, I hate fighting with my family, running down to the dock, which I was like, why are you running all the way to the dock, lady? Just go into the front of the house and collect yourself. So she runs to the dock. Louis follows after her. And she was like, I feel like everyone's always coming at me. And I'm just kind of like, Teresa, you put yourself in these types of situations. And that's why I can't be mad at Melissa and Joe, but I can't fault Teresa either. It's because neither one of them gives each other loyalty. It's legit like a cyclical thing where it's like, they scream, I want loyalty. I want loyalty. I want loyalty, but then y'all don't give each other loyalty and then expect that from each other. And it's weird because it's like, I've seen a lot of people say that just because you're brother and sister or your family or siblings doesn't mean that you have to be family. You have to have these strong connections, but there still should be something there. Yet I don't know. It's weird because it's they try to put on they're close, and we know they're not close. We've seen the rift between them build so largely over all 12 seasons of Real Housewives of New Jersey that it's I don't think anybody would fault any of them if they weren't cool with one another. But I also think it's the whole Italian thing where it's they're trying to keep up these appearances they are this close-knit Italian family. And I also think it's the simple fact that they're all they have of each other now. Teresa and Joe don't have other siblings. And maybe it would have been better if they did, because they could have had a buffer. But Teresa and Joe don't have any other siblings, and all they have is each other now. And because both their parents are gone. So I feel like maybe that is what they're trying to now they're trying to create something, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting that Teresa was so quickly ready to throw Jennifer to the side when Teresa was like, if you don't want me to talk to her, I won't talk to her. Because now we have the scene is basically Teresa's by the dock with Louis trying to calm herself down. Melissa and Joe rush after her, and Teresa basically tells them, like, you know, if you don't want me to be cool with her, I won't be cool with her. Like, I won't speak to her. Like, I don't think she's a bad person. But Joe keeps harping on this whole crooked thing. And the truth of the matter is, it's like, where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, I posted that picture or that screenshot of that news article. They've been running that news article, retweeting it on Twitter the longest since New Jersey has started, ever since the whole crooked comment. And the thing is, like, there's been so many instances of Joe doing some shady stuff that it's kind of like it lends to the idea that you are a crooked person. And it also is weird that he's harping on this so much, which makes me feel like in some shape or form, you've done some shady stuff and you just don't like that label of being called a crook. Because yeah, if she said it the first time, when Jennifer said it the first time, I'd have been like, dang, like stung by it. But I wouldn't be this angry the way Joe is. And I also feel like, why are we like skipping over the fact that Melissa started the whole entire like back and forth on Instagram? She posted, like, she shot the first shot and Jennifer returned it. It'd be totally different if Jennifer out the blue just started throwing back shots. And I feel like I don't understand that if the cast just wants Jennifer to sit there and take it or what, because that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. It's like y'all throw things at this lady, and then when she reciprocates them and she puts a little more like stank on it, y'all have an issue with it. It'd be totally different, and I mean this, like totally different, if like Jennifer was just coming out the blue and just causing issues and causing trouble. Then I would really understand the issues that people have with Jennifer. But it's like she reciprocates what y'all give. And that's not to say I think Jennifer is completely innocent, because she's done things. But I'm just like, y'all ODing over here talking about like she's just this disgusting and hurtful and malice person, when y'all I have done some shady stuff to each other. Next thing you know, we see Tracy, Margaret, and Teresa talking. And Tracy trying to apologize, but not really. And then Margaret brings up the whole Louis video again, which I'm over her doing it. But Teresa lied with a blank face. Teresa says she never saw the video. Gia didn't see the video, which I know is a lie from the pits of hell, because that video came out, I think, right around or right after the reunion wrapped. Right after the reunion wrap, that video popped up. And I feel like, what we talking about, Teresa? Like, I know it's the thing of like Teresa trying to put on these airs like she don't know what's going on, when sis, we know you know what's going on. We then see Jennifer and Bill having like a pool day with their two youngest kids, and Jennifer's basically tired of acting like everything's okay when it's not in her marriage. And she's mad that Bill didn't defend her. She felt like, you know, you didn't defend me, like you betrayed me the first time, and now you're betraying me again where you didn't stick up for me. And Bill is kind of like, what you want me to do? Like, we friends with them. So she needs to have a conversation with him. We're still at this party. The men are all congregating together except Bill. Tiki looks out of place. Joe is still harping on this crooked thing. He's talking about they're supposed to be the wolf pack. And I'm just like, the wolf pack doesn't matter when people are married. You don't matter when someone is married to somebody. What are you talking about, Joe? And then I hated how, what's her name? Melissa was like, you know, your little boy gang, you know, I feel so bad that Bill couldn't be here, but Jennifer messed that up. Okay, Melissa, we get it. You don't like the lady. Shut up, girl. Like, and my thing is, like, I get it. You don't want to invite her there because, you know, the arm fumbling. I get it. But what I don't like is, like, putting all this emphasis on, like, Jennifer is the problem. Jennifer is the problem. When it's like, y'all have done things to each other. That's why, like, that's why they're doing this whole mean girl thing as it pertains to Melissa, Margaret, and what's her name? And Jackie, is because it's like y'all are acting like y'all haven't done things to Jennifer. Like, they act like Jennifer just out the blue was just rah rah. And that's not to say that Jennifer hasn't done things, because she has. There's like, but like, I didn't even start liking Jennifer till her second season. Her first season, I was like, she too much. She's obnoxious. She's very gaudy. She's very braggadocious. And it's like, I got why they didn't like her. It seems like they want to humble Jennifer. And in all honesty, it's kind of working. Because you can see, like, when I watched her on Watch What Happens Live, like, at the clips I saw, you could tell that, like, Jennifer wants to be liked. She wants the women to like her. We know that Jennifer had a past where she was bullied like really badly growing up as a kid. So, you know, those things stick with you, so you can tell she wants to have friends, and she wants the girls to like her. So I think she's realizing, like, after this, like, I think we're gonna see a whole new Jennifer come next season. I think Jennifer season 13 is gonna be mute. Like, I don't even think she's going to have much to say to anybody, honestly, unless they really bring it to her. She probably won't even have, like, nothing snarky to say, because I really do think this being exposed really has, like, it's messed her up. But I think the reason why it's messed her up even more is because the children know. I think if she had not had kids and this was just something she had to explain to her, like, siblings and her parents, she would be okay. But I think it's the fact that her kids now have to deal with the fact that her father did do this to her. That their dad did hurt that their dad hurt their mom. I think that is like a mind F for her, because she even said she put Bill on this pedestal and he never sticks up for her. So I'm like, girl, that's your fault, because you shouldn't have did that. But I understand. So next thing you know, we're back in Jersey, and we see Margaret and Marge Sr., you know, going on a lunch date. Marge Sr. looked good. She looked real good. It's weird how much her and Margaret look the same. And I know, like, mother and daughter looks the same, but it's kind of eerie. And I feel like that's because of all the work that Marge has got done on her face and to her lips. Like, she looks a little bit older than her mom. Like, it looks like her and her mom could be slightly the same age, and that's not a good look, Marge. But like I said, her mom looked good. I didn't like Marge telling her mom is, like, mean and she shouldn't be opinionated, and that's why she ain't got no man. When I'm just kind of like, girl, huh? Oh, how you got a man then, Margaret? Because you don't know when to shut up. Okay. So they talk about Teresa again, and it's mainly about, like, Margaret was telling her mom, like, you know, I talked to Teresa about the video, and Teresa said she never saw the video, and the mom was kind of like, that's hard to believe, which is true. And then she was like, there's other allegations that have come up. So supposedly there was a blind item where it said that, what's it called? That that Louis, unfortunately, allegedly assaulted, like, hit his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend in front of the kids. I think it was, like, her kids. So I think his ex-girlfriend in front of her kids. And it's like, they don't have proof, but they said it was a blind item. And Margaret is like, she doesn't know how she's going to relay this information to Teresa. And my thing is, it's like, this is important and should be talked about, because, like, you cannot negate someone's past, especially if it's something like that serious. But I think the issue is it's coming from Margaret. And it's like, Margaret, this whole entire season, for the past 6 episodes, you just been constantly bringing up Teresa and Louis' relationship. So it's like, if you say anything, it's not going to feel like it's coming from a place of, like, concern or love. It's going to feel like it's coming from a place of you trying to be messy, trying to drudge up the past, and trying to hurt Teresa. So I feel like it's the right message to have the conversation to, but it shouldn't come from you. So then we see, as that's happening, they flip over to Gia and Teresa having, like, I guess, yogurt bowls or something. Look like some nice parfaits. All I got to say is, I think anniversaries, like 1st and 2nd year anniversaries, are stupid when you're dating, because I'm like, what we celebrating really? I I've never thought they were like that important. I get like, the third or fourth year, but not no like first year. But they're talking about Gia because Gia has a little boyfriend, and then Teresa's talking about Louis. Gia feels like her mom's rushing, and I think everybody feels like Teresa's rushing. She don't want to get no prenup. She's fallen in love with this man and she don't really know him. They just purchased a home. Her kids are still like in their teens age, and so is his. And it's like their families haven't been together long enough to really like, what's the word, bond and really connect for them to be moving into a house together. So I feel like she is rushing. She's definitely rushing. I honestly feel like what we're seeing is like love bombing from Louis, but also a grown-ass woman who hasn't taken the necessary steps to figure out how to get better. Because the thing is like, I think Teresa's like in her 50s. And it's kind of like we've never seen Teresa go to therapy. She always talks about like yoga and all that stuff helped her. But it's like we've never seen her actively sit down with somebody and talk about all the crappy things that have happened to her. Her parents dying in a span of like, I think two years apart or something like that, or 2 or 3 years apart. Her going to jail, her ex getting deported, her riff with her brother, being on this reality show. I honestly think everybody that's on reality TV probably should be in therapy. Even if you aren't on a reality show that is very explosive with with drama, it's still something where I think you need to talk to somebody every now and again. And I think we are seeing love bombing with Louis, but it's like the bare minimum, only because she hasn't been given that. She even said she wanted someone who would dote on her and make her feel like a princess and feel loved, because she never had that with Joe. And we've had a bunch of clips of Joe being verbally abusive towards Teresa and demeaning her. And I think that's why she's so obsessed with Louis. I wish she would have went with the pool boy, because that's a fine white man. He was cute. His voice was annoying, but he was cute. But yeah, you can tell that like it's weird, because at the party she was talking about she was going through withdrawals of being away from Louis, and then like she has some type of like she seems uneasy around him. And I don't know if it's uneasy because he's uneasy with the cameras and she's taking on that, or if he's doing things to make her uneasy. Next thing we see is Dolores having a scene with her parents. I like her parents. Her parents seem sweet. Her mama need to eat better. We ended up finding out the lady had to have a triple bypass because she had a 90% blockage in her heart when they had a scene with when Dolores went over to Jennifer's house to do boxing, and we'll talk about that. And I'm just like, why is she eating like chocolate and stuff in the morning, or candy? Like, she got to slow down. She not really healthy. She finally tells her family about her breaking up with David, and they're kind of distraught because they like David. I didn't even know that her and David had been together for 5 years. I was like, you could have fooled me. I thought it was like maybe 2 years at that. But Dolores basically said she felt alone. And I liked what her daddy said. Her dad was like, you want to be a part of somebody's life. You don't want to be a fixture. And I think that's what it is. Like, David wasn't willing to allocate time away from his career to be a part of Dolores's life. I think he expected Dolores to just like be okay with their setup, and she wasn't. And I don't think anybody should stick with somebody and they're not okay with how things are going. I think it's odd that like she still allows her family, well, I don't say allow, that her family still like hangs out with him, because he does seem great. But I'm like, if you're being mean and ignoring my mom when she's trying to have a conversation with you, then I don't think I really want to be around you. We find out about Frank being a Neanderthal and an abusive dick. And it's weird that Dolores and him were able to get past it. I think, it's great that she had the wherewithal and the courage to leave Frank when she was 9 months pregnant with Frankie and move on. Because she even said if she wouldn't have found out that Frank cheated, she probably would have stayed with him. And she even said that, like, had she stayed with Frank, her kids would be totally different. So she did the right thing, because her kids are pretty good, well off. But I still think it's weird that she allows him to be a part of her life when he was so nasty and horrible to her, towards her. Like in the beginning, their relationship was cute and it was like, oh, okay, you know, they're divorced, but they're friends. And you find like, you feel like it's sweet. But then when you find out that like he was so aggressive and like he was a tyrant, that it's like, how are you still cool with him? Then we see Joe and Melissa. We're looking at their home. I actually want to see what the home is going to look like when they finished. It's an old, outdated home. But I do like when people take old things and make them new. So I'm wondering what the final end product would be. They were just breaking windows. That's supposed to be their forever home. It's still odd to me that Joe and Melissa kind of move a lot, a little bit. Like we've seen them move a few times. So I'm just kind of like, y'all trying to outrun bill collectors like Nicole and Anthony on Real Housewives of Miami. But we know they fake storylines. This probably is real because we're actually seeing them put in the work and in the effort. So next we have is Jennifer. So this was a scene. I could tell, I felt bad for Gabriella because I could tell that she looked like she was about to cry. When her and her mom were having this conversation, when her and Jennifer were having a conversation about like Bill cheating. Like they decided that they were going to have a conversation, a real conversation with the oldest kids about Bill having the affair. And Jennifer's thing is like she wants her kids to be okay. You know, she also said that she was happy her mom wasn't here, because her mom was gonna, like, her mom decided to extend her stay in Turkey because she was like, if her mom was there, she probably would want me to seek revenge on Margaret. And I was glad that Gabriella was like, why? Like, told her mom, like, that was stupid. And she also said that, like, her mom would be more mad that, like, Margaret exposed the affair embarrassing Bill instead of her being embarrassed. We then see Dolores come. Dolores' body is great. That BBL is amazing. It's like one of the most naturalist BBLs we've seen. They did a good job on her. We see Nicole, the boxing coach. She was no nonsense. Like, Nicole was in there like, come on, do them squats correctly. She didn't care about their phones or nothing. They didn't talk about, like, after they done with boxing, they didn't have a conversation, Dolores and Jennifer, about David. And Dolores was like, she didn't, Jennifer was like, she wanted to ask, but she didn't want to, like, press the issue. But basically, Dolores tells us David is ignoring her, but still hanging out with her family, which I'm like, it couldn't be me. And she also felt like we were like two ships passing in the night. Like, I felt alone. Like, I want to spend my life with somebody. I just don't want to see you on the weekends. So they then talk about all the women coming at Jennifer. And Jennifer basically was like, Dolores basically told her, like, girl, you still got pent up anger and resentment towards Bill. She said Bill was a pussy for not defending her to the women. She also says that Dolores is kind of like, and maybe it's you feel like you have to fight so hard because of all the things that you're feeling now. Like, you're numb and you're triggered. So anytime somebody's coming at you, you feel like you got to go with them. And I liked how Dolores says some fights aren't worth fighting. And I think that's what Jennifer needs to understand. That, like, sometimes let them just be angry and you move past it. Because clearly they're going to hold it against you more than they hold it against anybody else in the group. They then talk about how Dolores left Frank when she was pregnant and how it's a visceral reaction of pain because you are dealing with all these hormones. And then we end up finding about, unfortunately, Dolores' mom had to go into surgery for having a 90% blockage, which means sis was about to have a heart attack or a stroke or something. So the last scene of the night is the boys' night. All I'm going to say is, like, Evan, who put a battery in your bag? Who put a battery in your bag? Like, honestly, to me, it felt like Evan just wanted to put his dick on the table and, like, bolster up in front of the men. Because I'm like, you did not have this much aggression towards Teresa or any of the men, push out Tiki, that were actively discussing that you possibly was cheating on Jackie. But it was just it bothered me because Bill sends this. So before they have the boys' night, we find out that Joe sends this FU text in the group chat. And Joe says he was being serious, but he was being funny. And I don't like when people do that, because you did that in front of people because you had an audience. If you really felt some type of way, you could have texted that to him personally. Like that, I was like, you a punk for that, Joe. And then it lends itself to you being called a little B-boy, because it's like, what was the necessary need for you to put F you in the group chat like that? So then we see Bill. Bill said he don't be trying to get into girls' drama. He wasn't sure if the FU was a joke or not. And then Tiki brings up the new allegations about, before that, they get to the restaurant. Everybody's there except Bill. Before Bill gets there, Tiki brings up the new allegations about Louis and about the alleged abuse, like domestic violence situation. Joe is acting oblivious, like he don't understand how he's supposed to talk to his sister about it. When I'm just like, bro, just call your sister and be like, I'm hearing allegations about you putting your hands on, like about your man putting hands on women. We need to have a family sit down, because that's not what's gonna be running up in this house. Like, you got my nieces in there. I don't have time for him to be putting his hands on you and me going to jail for attempted murder. Like, that's the only conversation we need to have. Then Bill gets there. Joe feels like Bill should have checked on him. Bill is like, he don't like walking into the lion's den. He didn't know if he was wanted or not. Then they talk about the situation. Evan says that I just didn't like them calling Jennifer a horrible person or a bad person or not a good person. Then Evan brings up the whole thing about like people digging up dirt on him about the said affair. And then I think where Bill messed up is where Bill said Jennifer is a good person and she doesn't dig on dirt, when he was referring to Margaret, when it's like, but she did though. I just feel like Evan's aggression wasn't warranted, in the sense of like, you didn't have this much heat or this much fever for the other dudes at this table. Joe Blanigno, I think that's how you say his name, which is Margaret's husband, basically confirmed that everybody's been talking about you cheating on your wife last season. Well, his words was like, you think I don't hear this? A lot of the women that be coming through our house, they talk about it all the time. So I'm like, you know this. So I'm like, why weren't you mad at him for confirming that you might be out here spreading it low and hanging it, just out here giving it everybody your stuff? You lost points, Evan. You lost points, because I didn't like that. I did not like that. But yeah, y'all, I didn't think this review was going to be this long, but that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Drop down in the comments below. Do you agree with Evan? Do you think he had every right to check Bill, or do you think he was just doing too much? And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.